Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back to your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about 10 cryptocurrencies to be looking at and possibly even buying today for the rest of 2024 into 2025. I do believe that these 10 projects could net you incredible gains and a ton of ROI going into the later months of this year and going into the later time frame of this cycle. Now, what do all 10 of these projects have in common? Well, it's very simple. They all belong to the real world assets space on CoinMarketCap. There is a lot to really kind of look into here. There's a lot to look over. I will have some honorable mentions as well in this video. But beyond that, let's dive on in and let's not waste any time at all. So, I saw this post back in December and it was 7 real world asset trends in 2024 that will unlock the future of finance. Now, I'm bringing it back up because I really do think that everyone should be focused on this with a lot of money flowing around this space and a lot of it being centered around real world assets. And this big trend and a spotlight put on it by major players like Larry Fink from BlackRock. I really do think that it's a big opportunity and something that as a retail investor, we should not overlook because again, there's a lot of money pouring around this space. And this is one of those sectors that has a lot of eyes on it. So if we scroll down, we can see a few things. So stablecoins, big one. Tokenized treasuries is another thing that everyone should be looking at. They also do mention a few players already on here, like Franklin Templeton, Ando, even Maple as well. There's a few other players on here that they are mentioning as well. But beyond that, we have also private credit. This is one to definitely look at. This is a big one that's been growing in numbers. Again, Maple being mentioned here. You also have Centrifuge, which, by the way, they are right now on the list at number 167. They are an honorable mention because of the low market cap and the tokenomics on this one. And if we actually look at this one, they did hold an ICO, and this was back in May of 2021. So they had a rough launch. It was at a terrible time in the market. And it's right now at around the same exact prices as the ICO. If we actually look at the, well, they have it listed as an IEO, but it's the same exact thing. If we actually look at the prices here, this was at 38 cents and this was at 55 cents. So currently speaking, we're at 56 cents. It's right around that same exact price. And again, I do think that this is one that people should be looking at, especially if you are in the real world asset space. Another one is Track. Track doesn't have a lot to do with this space too much, but they are like a data player around real world assets, which I do think is going to be a crucial one to focus on as well. And there's a few other ones on here like Polymath that are great players. But beyond that, we are going to go in depth on 10 solid players around the space, and we're going to go over them. They also have backed NFTs, consumer brand NFTs, DeFi and climate and regenerative finance as well, and then also tokenized deposits and wholesale bank settlements, which is more so centered around CBDCs, which again, you could argue this is a big player in terms of like what Ripple is doing with XRP. Definitely focus on Ripple and XRP if you are into the CBDC side of things. Outside of all of that, let's dive on in. So rwa.xyz, this is a great website to go check out if you want to focus on what's happening right now around tokenization and real world assets. They are going to be adding real estate and stablecoins to their site, which I'm definitely anticipating right now because that is going to be two big areas that I'm interested in. But under private credit, and they also have tokenized treasuries, we can see where a lot of the money is. Right now, if we actually look at the real world asset protocols, we can actually see Centrifuge having a ton of money in loans, actually over $500 million in loans. Active loans right now, sitting at over 262.6 million. Maple has 1.8 billion in total loans, active loans 147.4 million. And the list goes on and on here. Now, one that we are going to be talking about later on is actually listed on the protocols tab, which we will talk about. There's actually two players on here that we will be talking about. But this is a great area to also look into around like even investments and even current investments. Again, research is crucial when you're trying to find gems. Tokenized treasuries as well. Again, look at the TVL and the active loans value on here. Like total loans value, 4.5 billion. Active loans value, almost 600 million. Over here, total value in terms of treasuries, 866.5 million. And we could see how large this has become since going all the way back to roughly January of 2023. So in a whole year, this has grown from 113.9 million all the way to 855 million. So money is flowing in on this. And we could see a lot of the big players here, like Franklin Templeton, which is holding a large percentage of this at $333.8 million. And the list goes on here. But also, if you guys did want to do more research, you guys are more than welcome to go check out the directory tab and also even the research tab, which allows you to look at everything happening around the tokenization space. But don't worry, we already did the work for you. So let's dive on in. So, real world asset TVL rankings. Number 1, Maker. Guys, Maker has been a blue chip around this space for a little bit of time. I don't think I need to be the one to tell you guys that. If you go all the way back in time, this has been a big winner, especially in 2021, surging all the way to $6,000. And we're talking about from a price point of 200 and some dollars back in March of 2020. Now, obviously, you probably didn't buy the exact bottom back then, but you had a lot of time under $1,000 to accumulate this thing, and it ran all the way to $6,000. And the best part about this, and the reason why it ran all the way to $6,000, I was about to say $600,000, is because of the tokenomics. There's only 1 million Maker out there. Again, I do think that this thing will run hard yet again because of the low supply, but also because of how much money is flowing through Maker right now. I mean, they have 2.114 billion, so $2,114,000,000 in TVL on the platform right now. Again, market cap wise, 1.8 billion. So technically speaking, this thing is undervalued just by TVL ratio alone. And we can actually see that the TVL on here is questionable. It's not actually counted into chain TVL. So when we actually look at this, we can see over here that the TVL is sitting at about $6.2 billion versus its $1.8 billion market cap. So definitely keep a close eye on Maker and add it to your watch list if it isn't on it already. Now, number 2, Polymesh. This one you have to be a little bit careful with, and I'll tell you exactly why. So first off, this did have a rough launch. It was back in 2022, May, right around the same time that Luna imploded. And again, it started to run pretty hard back in October of 2022. But then there was a lot of FUD around FTX. And again, you could see what exactly happened then. Then we had a little bit of a spike up back in the April timeframe of 2023. Major sell-off, and then we had another wick all the way up to about 40 cents back in October of 2023, and then again we are selling off due to the market conditions. This is already on major exchanges, so it is very easily to it's very easy to jump into this one. $147.4 million fully diluted market cap, just under 1 billion total supply. The problem that I have with Polymesh is just the inflation rate. It's 10.19% in terms of the inflation rate, which is pretty rough. So when we really look at that, again, if you don't like inflationary tokens, this might not be for you. There is a large portion of the supply already staked and bonded, which is very beneficial to look at because right now actual circulating supply is about 52.67% at about 489 million. The thing that I like about Polymesh is it's more so an infrastructure layer, if you will. This is one of those players that I do think will be a big player around the infrastructure layers aspect, but also even around regulated assets and regulated tokens themselves. Because if we actually go over to Polymesh, we could see a blockchain for securities. And we already know that players like the DTCC that are selling quadrillions of dollars worth of securities, and that's right, I said quadrillions, not trillions, quadrillions worth of securities per year. they are jumping into the DLT and blockchain space heavily. So again, I do think that a blockchain specifically built for securities is actually a pretty big game changer. But beyond this, we actually know that they are heavily focused on the real world asset space, which I do think that kind of gives them the upper hand here. There's a large amount of money that could very well be tokenized, 800 trillion plus. And I do think that there's a large amount of money out there that can circulate and tap into some of these low cap gems like Polymesh, resulting in a lot of ROI. Now, I do think that it's a higher risk simply due to the inflationary aspect of it. But I do like what they are doing and I like what they are building simply because of, again, we know that the securities market is ripe for disruption and DLT and blockchain is right there with it. Of course, even with AI on the side. Now, beyond that, the next player on the list and talking about infrastructure layers is Alliance Block, Nexera. We've talked about Nexera on the channel many times in the past. We're talking all the way back in like 2021 when we first started talking about Alliance Block. Today, it is sitting at about a fully diluted market cap of $108 million, 850 million total supply, 90% of the supply already out there. I could not, like when we really look at something like this, there is not a better opportunity in terms of like a lower risk sub $100 million market cap token than Nexera. Because I'm not going to go off the fully diluted, I'm just going to go off the market cap. It's sub 100 million, guys. 13 cents almost. Again, this one's on some great exchanges, not on the best ones. Like Qcoin is a little bit rough for most people. MEXC is a little bit rough for some people. So again, this is a harder token to get into. But guys, focus on what Alliance Block is doing because they are becoming an infrastructure layer for real world assets and tokenization itself. They are trying to converge traditional finance with DeFi. And I do think that they've been doing a great job at that. Again, great write-up from the CEO and founder of Alliance Block. If you guys want to go check it out, you guys are more than welcome to. They are fully focused in on this, even with Nexera ID. They are trying to build out this full platform. And so far, it looks great. I love the overall plan behind this. It really is making sure every single step of the way is covered around tokenization. And again, it's all around securities because this is going to be one of the largest opportunities out there around blockchain and DLT. So definitely focus in on what Alliance Block is doing. Next on the list and going all the way back to what we were talking about over here, right? If we go down, we could see Maple is number 2 with $1.8 billion in total loans, 147.6 million in active loans. And even if we go back over to tokenized treasuries as well, we could see that Maple's on the list as well. Not too significant in terms of the amount here. It's only about $12 million. But again, I do think that we should be focused on Maple because I do think that it could be a big player. If we actually look at the overall chart here, it has been a little bit rough. But again, it didn't really experience a full-on bull run back in 2021. It was very late to the party. Surging in April of 2022, right before the big bearish moves in the market. And again, this one did have an ICO back in April and May of 2021, which also kind of stunted its overall price appreciation, in my opinion. Soft cap was $58. Right now, we are at $13.36. It is on some major exchanges already, like Coinbase, so it is very easily accessible. I do think that this one is going to be a big player going into this next cycle, especially with how much focus is on Maple. Tokenomics-wise, 10 million total supply. 44% of the supply is out there. So just be aware of that because, again, there is unlocks and things like that that could very well happen. But Maple has been absolutely killing it for a while. Even back in August of 2023, they already attracted $22 million worth of deposits since it opened in April around their cash management facility. But they are going heavy in on the tokenized treasuries market as well. And even if we go back to, let me go back to DeFi Llama. So here we have DeFi Llama. We could actually see on this list that Maple is number 10 with about $38.9 million on chain. And again, this is just around real world assets. It doesn't include everything, like even the loans and stuff like that. So I do think that this $38 million is actually the tokenized treasuries around their cash management facility, because it had 22 million. I think that it has gained quite a bit since then. But Maple has been around for a little bit of time, and it's been on my radar for a little bit of time as well, because of the significance behind them and what the team has been doing. They've been very vocal and they've been building for a while. So definitely put this one on the watch list, no doubt. Also, the next one, Proppy. So I've been talking about Proppy for a little bit of time. Again, terrible price action in the past, going all the way back to 2017, 2018. Hit about $4.65. We never made a new all-time high, even back in 2021 and even into 2022, where it actually had its last major run-up in January of 2022. The reason why I do think that it's a different story this time around, remember, Proppy only has 100 million total supply. The reason why I think it's different this time around is because of the team. They have been moving heavy. They've been making a ton of noise. And they also have been expanding rapidly. Also, beyond that, when we really look at the ripple effect of tokenization, it's been growing. And that's why I do think that when we look at Proppy, they have been building out for this. They've already had their foot ahead of the game when it comes to this. And they've already had a ton of money flowing through their ecosystem. Again, I really do think that these are the types of players that are going to be around for a while and become big players around the tokenization space with real estate and things like that. Real estate is a big market right now, and it's actually been one that's been fully focused on the channel because of how large of a market it is and how ripe for disruption it is around tokenization. So Proppy is the next one on the list. Now, going back to real world assets, XYZ, I do want to talk a little bit about TrueFi, because I don't think that TrueFi gets talked about enough. It's been one that's been kind of boring. Everyone's starting to forget about it, which I love to see. That's when you really want to start looking into some of these projects. TrueFi right now, active loans about $19 million versus its $1.7 billion worth of total loans that it had at one point in time. If we actually look at TrueFi right now, we can actually see the overall chart for it looks dead. It looks done. Which again is what I love to see. Circulating supply 75, almost 76%. Market cap sub 50 million. Fully diluted market cap 66 million. Again, with TrueFi, they have a great platform. They have a great app around tokenized assets. They have about $18.4 million worth of TVL. Total loan originations, $1.74 billion. Again, with how ripe for disruption the real world asset game is, I do think that TrueFi is going to make a big comeback. Again, it's already on major exchanges like Binance and Coinbase. Definitely focus on what TrueFi is doing and keep them on the radar. They are a smaller team. They're not as vocal as most, but they are still building. And I don't know if they are listed on here, but I do know that they are on rwa.xyz. It's so hard to say real world asset all the time, but they are on rwa.xyz because of the original total loan origination, but they also have about $22 million in TVL right now. Next on the list, Algorand. So Algorand is one that is kind of overlooked when it comes to the RWA space, and I don't know why. A lot of people kind of forget that they have a ton of ecosystem players focused on RWAs. The thing that I love personally about Algorand is we recently seen a major dip below 10 cents, which was a huge opportunity. Right now we're sitting at about 16.5 cents. If we go all the way back to March of 2020, it was like right around this same exact price before it ran all the way up here to about $2 and like 30 some cents. I really do think that Algorand is a blue chip in this space. I really do think that this is one that everyone should be looking at. And when we look at Algorand, TVL, 173, almost $174 million worth of TVL. And a lot of these, I mean, when we look at RWAs, Lofty is a big one. And Lofty has been killing it. But there's a few other ones on here, like even gold, stuff like that. Focus in on Algorand as well when it comes to tokenization. They've been making some big moves recently. Next on the list, Ando. So again, as we go back to real world assets, Ando is number 3. Ando has about almost $184 million worth of TVL. When we go back over here to Ando, we can actually see that it has about a $378 million market cap. The big problem that I have with Ando is the fully diluted market cap. We're at about almost 4 billion versus 10 billion total supply. The only issue that I have with this project is the tokenomics. Beyond that, I do think that Ando is going to perform very well. And the reason why is because of the backers on this one. Just beware of the token unlocks. And we can see the full token unlocks here. We can see when they are going to happen. We can see the next unlocks. February 17th. Again, wait until the 17th. Wait to see what actually happens. This is a very small unlock. And then they also have one in March. They also have one in April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December as well. Again, and it's all for the same exact amount, 0.02% of the max supply. But this is something that could very well, push people away because they don't like inflationary tokens, which I completely agree with you guys. They're a lot harder of a hold. The only thing that I like really about Ando is it's not just about the TVL. It's about who they are getting fundraising from. A lot of the big players that are investing into Ando are massive leaders in this space. We're talking about Pantera Capital, Coinbase Ventures. Guys, these are large players. They've had a ton of major rounds back in even August of 2021, April of 2022, and then just recently in May of 2022, and then just recently they had another one in January of this year, and the price was at about 5.5 cents. Now the issue is that guess what? You are going to see sell-offs and things like that around tokens like this that had a ton of fundraising rounds. But they are also very good for major moves in the market and pumps. But just beware of the fact that, there could be major sell-offs. There could be a lot of tokens unlocked as well during this time. They already have it set up. You could see the unlock schedule, like I said, over on here. If we actually go back to the vesting, we could see all of the token unlocks when they're going to happen. It's not a significant unlock that happens, but it is still something that, should be focused on. And again, it could lead to a major sell-off or at least a short-term sell-off that could give you a great opportunity. But they already have a ton of great on-chain tokenization opportunities, including, of course, the USDY, which is US dollar yield, US treasuries, US money markets as well. And this is institutional grade finance now on-chain. So they have a lot of this stuff, and you can even see up here what they have to offer. But beyond that, look at who they are backed by. Founders Fund, Coinbase, Pantera. These are leaders, and their team comes from substantial names like even BlackRock, for an example, PIMCO, StoneX, Clearstreet. These are large players, and even down here, we also have Goldman Sachs and even Maker. People from Maker are coming over to this as well. So that's what really got me looking into Ando. I've done a lot of research already on them. I like what I am seeing. The only issue that I have is the tokenomics. But again, like I said, this thing could run extremely hard and extremely fast with that backing, because again, those people that are backing these projects, they want these things to move, and they want them to move fast and hard. Now, next on the list is Stellar. I don't even need to mention it. I'm pretty sure at this point you all already know about Stellar. You probably already know about Franklin Templeton and how they have their first on-chain US government money fund on Stellar. This is built on Stellar. There's $325.5 million in on this. You could also see that over here if we go back to US Treasuries. You can actually see Franklin Templeton is number 1 on Stellar with almost $334 million worth of money market funds on Stellar already. You can also see Ando, by the way, which is number 3 with 111.7 million. But Franklin Templeton, massive player. I don't even need to tell you guys that. And what's crazy about this is Stellar. The circulating supply, 50, almost 7% of the circulating supply is out there out of a total supply of 50 billion. It does have a $3.2 billion market cap and a $5.6 billion fully diluted. So upside potential is a little bit more limited compared to most of the other ones. But this has become a blue chip in this space for a little bit of time. It kind of follows XRP a little bit in price action. So it is slower to move rather than the rest that I talked about. But I still think that this is one that you need to focus on, especially with how bullish Franklin Templeton has been on tokenization, blockchain, and things like that. Now, outside of that, last but not least, Hedera. Hedera has become a leader in this space around tokenization. They do have an unlock happening very soon around tokenomics. It's about 5 billion tokens that is going to be unlocked, which is their most substantial unlock in history. So that could lead to a major sell-off. So when we see that sell-off, I think that that should be a big opportunity. But I also think that there's a great opportunity even right now in terms of price action, which allows us to accumulate even under 10 cents. I think long term, this thing is going to at least $1. So upside potential, a ton of it. And again, like I said, Hedera is not shy to the game around tokenization. If we look right now, they have a TVL of about roughly $105 million almost. This has been growing steadily, but notice how it doesn't include any of the real world asset ecosystem players on Hedera. If we look at a few of them, Toko has been absolutely killing it. And this is backed by DLA Piper. This is one of the most prominent law firms globally out there, and they've been absolutely killing it. And I do think that this is a big player that everyone should be looking at in terms of real world asset tokenization, and also game-changing moves around real estate. Real estate is the focus here. With Toko, this is a tokenization engine that does focus on everything under all one umbrella. But beyond Toko, they also have Quarter Homes, which is a big one. This is fractional home equity tokenized as digital assets on Toko, which again is built on Hedera. So this being built on Toko is also technically built out on Hedera, which does have exposure to Hedera, which is a big game changer. And we even see, like, by leveraging the Hedera network for tokenizing home equity assets, participants can tap into a secure, scalable, and governance-focused ecosystem that enables efficient ownership transfer, enhanced liquidity, and heightened trust. Beyond that, you also have Red Swan CRE. They're building its token studio on Hedera for real-world asset tokenization. And also Arcadia Global to launch a new real estate tokenization platform on Hedera as well. All of this happened in a matter of like 2 years. So Hedera is becoming a dominant force around the tokenization space. And even right now, like I said, upside potential, I really do think that this thing is going to at least have a 10x plus in it. So focus on a lot of these gems. I mean, listen, these are 10 big players in this space around the real world asset sector. And like I said, there's a lot of money flowing through this. VCs are backing large projects with a ton of money. So focus on where the real money is and the big money is, and focus on what they are throwing money to. Real world assets in this year is going to be a big spotlighted focus point. And I really do think that a lot of these gems are going to explode in value. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys have more free content. If you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. Also, if you guys do want to go check out NordVPN, guys, this is so much more than just a VPN. Threat protection, meshnet, dark web monitor, dedicated IP. It has you covered every step of the way. You cannot afford to have anything unsecure in crypto, especially if you are in the space long term. Make sure that you are going to check out NordVPN right now, 63% off, utilizing my link down in the description below, as well as in the comments below. And the best part about it is that you can pay with crypto. So go check them out while this sale does last. It is a limited time only sale, so go check it out. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.